Oh, good day, folks. Welcome to another edition of Lumberjack Logic. And we are so happy with the election of Donald Trump. What we are seeing is the complete dismantling of the bureaucracy. This is the wild. I can't believe I'm alive for such a great time, folks. I mean, I know we went through it. I keep saying it because it's so true. You guys who follow this channel know we went through it, okay? But here we are on the cusp of the rebirth of America. I'm telling you, I mean, the first term of Donald Trump, I liked it. The economy was great. I mean, I thought, wow, he's a good president. People were trying to compare him to George Washington. And I'm like, oh, settle down. Okay, I'm there now. I'm there. He is doing things that are completely the greatest in the history of the world. And one of those is, of course, nominating Kash Patel for head of the FBI. So Adam Schiff is talking. I mean, we're going to listen to him because we're just going to listen to him a little bit, folks.
Credible that he doesn't remember. Of course he remembers. I don't recall, not that I recall. That's the language an attorney tells you to use when you want to perjure yourself, but you don't want to be caught in a perjury. This is who we're voting to make the director of the FBI. The guy who says, I don't recall whether I participated in ordering the firing of people. I don't recall. This is the guy who testified to this committee. I think when Ranking Member Durbin asked him about his role in producing song with the people who attacked police on January 6th. I had nothing to do with the recording, he told us. Of course, we know because...
Do you know what's so funny about Adam Schiff, folks? This is the guy, he talks about Kash Patel or Donald Trump and they're lying and all this stuff. And the reality is we had to listen to Adam Schiff's lies for years, Russia collusion, all that other crap. Do me a favor, smash that like button, chat in with where you're from. Good to see so many of you on the stream. Yeah, RFK is confirmed and we're getting Kash. I'm telling you, RFK was a tougher hurdle than Kash Patel. The only Republican, and this is interesting, and I want you to think about this, the only Republican that jumped off the ship with these people is Mitch McConnell. He is completely losing his grip on power. Mitch McConnell, I mean, I'm not saying John Thune's the greatest.
The grand jury
he's not
refused to testify in a criminal case without getting immunity. Plead the fifth, demanded immunity.
I'm going to turn him down just a little bit, but because it's Adam Schiff, and he does get tiresome to listen to. But maybe he'll really say something stupid. I mean, every word that he utters is stupid. But
I guess stock options worth $1 to $5 million from a company financed by the Chinese Communist Party. And we still don't know what he did to earn $1 to $5 million from a company affiliated with the Chinese Communist Party.
This is wild. I mean, Adam Schiff talking about communists. So I met Kash Patel very briefly. I talked to him twice, very briefly at the RNC. He would not know me. I'm not saying anything like that. But the reality is, of all the nominees of President Trump, this is the one I wanted most. Was Kash Patel. So yes, I mean, Mitch McConnell, John Thune, McConnell wanted Thune to be Senate Majority Leader, but even Thune isn't going along. Trump has a grasp on this situation that is greater than anything you have ever seen. To be able to wrangle 52 of the 53 together to get through the best nominations to these departments that are so controversial to the mainstream media before Republicans would have run. Trump is teaching Republicans how to deal with these idiots in the mainstream media and how to deal with these idiot Democrats. He is absolutely teaching the party how to do that and to not get so wrapped up in the need. Okay, in the need, I'm going to pull him out here for just a little bit because it's Adam Schiff. And I mean, you guys have probably heard. Have you guys heard enough of Adam Schiff? Because I really can't. I'll bring in the next person. Okay, but I just can't. I can't listen to him anymore. Maybe you guys want to, if you guys want to hear the hearing instead of me talking about a few things, I'll bring him back in. Okay. But if you don't, I'll just keep going. So it looks like, 4 people said, yes, I've heard enough of Adam Schiff. So I'm just going to kind of roll with it here. But Mitch McConnell has totally lost his grip. This whole need for the media love is losing its grip on the Republican Party right now. That whole need for that, it's really about the coolest thing I've seen in a long, long time, folks. Because we have been in a situation where we have seen the Republicans cower to the media, cower to the left. And I think one of the things that's helping that is new media, because we're happy to interview these people and get the truth out there. We're happy to get the other side of the story out there. And we're learning now through all the USAID crap that all these media outlets were funded by our tax dollars anyways. And that's why we couldn't get the truth. Let's see here. We're going to add him back into the stage here. Oh, okay, we got Grassley. Let's see what he's got to say.
And listen to people hypothesizing about Patel taking leads from the White House. We have plenty of evidence that the White House telegraphed to the Department of Justice about these prosecutions. We have Biden complaining that Garland didn't start soon enough. And then you have this coincidence of Trump announcing for re-election in December 2022. And then all of a sudden in 2023, you have 4 indictments.
This is such great
What a
points.
coincidence.
We just talked about this yesterday on the stream.
Meeting adjourned.
I love it. Grassley just shut Schiff down, because the reality is that, I mean, oh man. Okay, here, I'm going to pull this out. We're going to cover some other news now. But what Grassley said there is true. I mean, I just did this show yesterday. We found out that in June, the White House was colluding to get the Trump with the, Jack Smith, Merrick Garland, the machine that wanted to get Trump on the documents case. And it was really, I shouldn't say hilarious because it's not even really funny, but it kind of was. Well, I'm sorry. The live stream ended and I got to just cancel that out. But anyways, we're dealing with Adam Schiff getting up there and saying all these stupid things. And when we actually have the data on I'm trying to find something. So I'm kind of like doing 2 things at once here. I wanted to talk about a couple other news pieces. I'm going to just present a screen here. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about Donald Trump and his massive, this is huge. Okay. There you go. I just had a lengthy and highly productive phone call with President Vladimir Putin of Russia. We discussed Ukraine. Now, I want you to think, remember they had a peace deal? Ukraine and Russia, they were willing to do a peace deal. And the Joe Biden administration, which, I mean, I wasn't Joe Biden. I mean, I just kind of have to keep remembering this because Joe Biden couldn't do anything. You know what I mean? He just didn't have the mental faculties. So obviously somebody else was running it. Somebody else was doing it. But forgive me, you don't need to correct me every time I talk about the Biden regime or the Biden White House. I understand that. It's just how you refer to it. We'll call it the Biden White House, I guess. Anyways, they could have had peace, but they didn't want it. We discussed Ukraine, the Middle East, energy, artificial intelligence, the power of the dollar, and various other subjects. We both reflected on the great history of our nations. See, Trump is so wise as a negotiator, so wise as a consensus builder, that he talks to Vladimir Putin about shared history. We both reflected on the great history of our nations and the fact that we fought so successfully together in World War II, remembering that Russia lost tens of millions of people, and we likewise lost so many. We each talked about the strengths of our respective nations and the great benefit that we will someday have in working together. So instead of being adversarial, okay, like you remember Reagan? He went over there, Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall, and then had continued talks with Gorbachev and had talks with Gorbachev to get the wall torn down in the first place. But he was tough, okay? I mean, so... we don't want to have Russia as our enemy. Why would we want any country to be our enemy in perpetuity? Okay. I mean, I understand that some nations are going to be. Y'all get that, right? You don't get to be friends with every nation out there, okay? Especially terrorist nations and so on. But Russia, I think we can pull this one off. But first, as we both agreed, we want to stop the millions of deaths taking place in the war with Russia and Ukraine. Folks, Ukraine's lost a whole generation of young men. President Putin even used my very strong campaign motto of common sense. We both believe very strongly in it. We agreed to work together very closely, including visiting each other's nations. We have also agreed to have our respective teams start negotiations immediately, and we will begin by calling President Zelensky of Ukraine to inform him of the conversation, something which I will be doing right now. I've asked Secretary of State Marco Rubio, Director of CIA John Ratcliffe, National Security Advisor Michael Waltz, and Ambassador and Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to lead negotiations, which I feel strongly will be successful. Millions of people have died in a war that would not have happened if I were president, but it did happen, so it must end. No more lives should be lost. I want to thank President Putin for his time and effort with respect to this call and for the release yesterday of Mark Fogel, a wonderful man that I personally greeted last night at the White House. I believe this effort will lead to the successful conclusion, and hopefully soon, folks. So we're getting peace deals with Trump where we had endless wars with Biden. And on top of this, folks, the great gains at home. So Trump's going to do really well on foreign policy. He certainly did in his first term. But 75,000 federal workers have accepted President Trump's resignation offer. Okay, that's going to save us billions. And these people are smart because the rest of them, so many of them are just going to get laid off. And we're going to find out. And I know the Democrats think they can put up right now, fortunately, and this is why it was so important to win this time. That's why I said we're going off a cliff if we don't win this election. The problem we always had before was once you created more government, did anybody ever shrink it, folks? Yes or no? In the chat. What do you got? Did you guys ever see great shrinkage of government before? See, they grew government and then it became part of a permanent bureaucracy. Okay. There was times like Bill Clinton was forced to sign some measures in the 90s because of Newt Gingrich and the contract with America. If you guys know about that history, there were actually some cuts done, and then they did the welfare reform, other things like that actually happened during Clinton due to the strength of the Republican Congress at that time. But really, we've seen no sizable reduction, no elimination of departments. There's been no elimination of departments. Department gets created, then another one gets created, and so on, and so on, and so on. So Trump's laying off, 75,000 workers have taken that buyout, okay? Also, something really great, folks, because you guys know I'm demonetized on YouTube. I can reapply here in February. But Congressman Paul Gosar introduced a bill that's going to, basically force social media companies to allow more free speech, or they will have their Section 230 immunity revoked. Okay, that was one of Trump's main promises, and now we have this happening. So that's a big one. Okay, let's see. This is a big one too. Let me pull this I'm going to add this to the stage. My friend George broke this on X, but a Florida appeals court just rejected the Pulitzer Prize Board's motion to dismiss the defamation lawsuit President Trump filed against them for awarding the New York Times and Washington Post, okay, for the Russian interference hoax. So this is big. We just had Adam Schiff on, okay, Russia collusion. It was all a hoax. The president has met his burden of establishing jurisdiction to proceed with his asserted claims that the non-resident defendants acted with actual malice or reckless disregard for the truth by knowingly conspiring with the Florida resident defendant to defame the president. Therefore, the trial court correctly denied the non-resident defendant's motion to dismiss the president's claims over the asserted publication of defamatory fake news. The winning does not stop, my friend George said. So again, I don't care what you want to look at right now. I know the Dems are getting some court victories, but those are going to be short-lived. And remember, everything they've done to this point has worked against them. Even our 4 years in the wilderness, folks, has worked against the Democrats. You do all realize that. So now, what do you think is going to happen? We are finding out just how corrupt the courts are. So now you are going to see actual moves to remove judges. Now, the problem is impeaching is going to be hard because we need a stronger majority, obviously. I think it's 60 votes to impeach. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but that's always what I've understood. So, at this point, the impeachment option is going to be tougher, but there's other things that can be done. Okay. And we've got mass firings at the federal agencies. Okay. Mass firings. So it doesn't matter if it's the Department of Education, the SBA, and so on. But my friend George had also posted this. He said, employees at the Department of Education received an email saying the agency finds, based on your performance, that you have not demonstrated that your further employment at the agency would be in the public interest. The firings have impacted employees across the department, from the General Counsel's office to the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitation Services to the Federal Student Aid Office. Now, the Democrats are going to go along and they're going to cry and they're going to be like, oh, you're going to take away school lunches from kids and all this crap. Just understand that the Department of Education, you're going to find out as we go through all of this, okay, is complicit in it all, okay? I wonder how many payoffs were done to provide school lunches, okay? This is a big one, folks. So for those who didn't know, people got designations on their airline tickets, okay? Their boarding passes, SSSS. Do you guys know about the SSS designation? How many of you understand what this means? I'm just curious because this story, the mainstream media didn't cover it. I talked about it a little bit, but the 4S designation on your boarding pass, do you guys know what that you meant and what it did to people? Okay. It was called Quiet Skies. And what it did was you had enhanced security procedures. Okay. Enhanced security procedures. So they would go through all the, sorry, this is my computer's dinging because somebody's trying to text me. But they would basically go through the special line, get the old pat down search, have their luggage gone through. They had to get to the airport earlier. Well, Tulsi Gabbard was on that. Okay. Look at this. Tulsi Gabbard was on the Quiet Skies list. This veteran in our armed forces was on. She was on the Quiet Skies surveillance by the Biden regime. Okay. Now she's in charge of intel. If you don't think that's poetic justice, I don't know what is. Let's see what else was down here. Oh, here. The Trump administration is hitting back at the Minnesota State High School League's decision to follow state law and let transgender student athletes compete according to their gender identity. Of course, he's going to hit back. None of this stuff. This is so stupid about the Democrats, too, is they actually think that that's a winning argument. The fools. I mean, women don't want men competing in their sports. Parents don't want boys competing in their girls' sports. It's the dumbest idea they're pursuing. Late breaking, for the first time in history, listen to this, folks. This is huge. All 13 Canadian premiers are in Washington, D.C. this week, okay, to beg, his way he puts it, but they probably are, President Trump not to impose tariffs on Canadian products. So what's happening up there is we signed this deal, right? Justin Trudeau said he was going to move troops and all this stuff. He's not moving all that fast. So now the Canadian premiers are taking matters into their own hands. All 13 Canadian premiers are going to be in Washington, D.C. to talk to President Donald Trump. Okay? This was a great post, but I don't have that up. They're just screenshots. Yeah, this is so stupid. Democrat rep says manufacturing is a sexist term because it has the word man. Maybe you guys saw that video. It's not worth covering. It's not real news. But the issue is here we're going to get every single nominee, folks. And if you had asked the majority of people at the beginning of this, if Trump was going to get every nominee, they would have said no. I mean, we had to put so much pressure on senators. And for all of you who made calls, thank you. I'm totally serious. Thank you. For all of you who did the work and called and emailed your senators, especially in states like Kentucky, South Dakota, where we have ruby red states with rhino senators. Getting these people, Alaska, Lisa Murkowski felt more pressure than she had ever felt in her life. Okay. This is huge. I saw somebody, Moon Pie said, I like them all, but Tulsi. I had questions about Tulsi until the deep state came against her so hard. As soon as they were trying to surveil her and put her on Quiet Skies list and wanted her not to be confirmed in the worst possible way, I started becoming a lot more excited about Tulsi Gabbard. I don't know where you guys are at, but that's where I'm at, So I like her a lot more now than I did before. Let me see. I was going to share another video with you here. So let me, I've got some grandkids over. My son, dropped them off, my son and daughter-in-law, and they're awesome. Here, this is what I wanted to share with you. You're going to love this. It's coming over. There it is, 464. All right. See, that's why I need a producer, so you guys don't have to wait, right? But this is worth it. This is Lee Zeldin. This is what Democrats are freaking out about. It's pretty wild.
Hi, this is EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin. One of my very top priorities at EPA is to be an excellent steward of your hard-earned tax dollars.
I am telling you, New York missed an opportunity not having this guy for governor.
Be zero tolerance of any waste and abuse. An extremely disturbing video circulated 2 months ago featuring a Biden EPA political appointee talking about how they were tossing gold bars off the Titanic, rushing to get billions of your tax dollars out the door before Inauguration Day.
Folks, the audio isn't going to change. Just turn up your volume, okay?
The gold bars were tax dollars, and tossing them off the Titanic meant the Biden administration knew they were wasting it. Following this revelation, during my meetings with members of Congress, I made a very important commitment to them and to the American people, which I reiterated at my confirmation hearing that
I don't know what the deal is with the volume, because I can hear this just fine. Like it's coming through loud and clear. But I'm just going to stop the clip because too many people are having trouble with it. I can hear it. I mean, it plays back on my side. So anyhow, yes, you do hear a crying baby. That's my my granddaughter Susanna, and then my granddaughter Joanna was not feeling good. She got sick, and so yeah. So I've been dealing with that this morning. She's been throwing up. I mean, just constantly. And so, I was up early dealing with that, holding her. And then, you get a towel and you just kind of puke on it and stuff. But she's getting better. It's, but it's been it's been a rough one for the girl. I can, hell, it's going to take too long. I'll get that Zeldin clip to you later. But in fact, I'll just pull the stream. Oh, by the way, I am getting Mike Lindell. I just talked to them on the phone. He is running another super deal for the Lumberjack Logic listeners, and it's on some patriotic stuff. It's going to be pretty cool. So I'm going to get him on the show coming up, but we should have that deal active later today, and then I'll let you know what it is. All right. So we'll catch you on the flip side, folks. And peace out. All right. It was good having you on. Good to go. Good to see Kash is he's going to get confirmed, folks. Adam Schiff looks like an idiot because he is.